Vietnam War when he was 22 years old. He was dating my granny at the time, and what you gotta understand is he came from a pretty low-income part of eastern Kentucky, and at that time, a lot of those boys that were getting drafted were getting sent over to the infantry, and a lot of them were getting shot up, and you know, a lot of them that came back were not the same as they were when they went over. So he figured that surely the same fate awaited him, and he decided to break things off with her before he left and to save her a little bit of heartache, right? So he goes to boot camp and he does well, and you know, he's a trained killer. He's ready to go over there and do some fighting, and at the very last minute, orders came down from the higher ups and sent him and about half of his platoon over to Germany instead. So he, you know, that was a little bit to his dismay. He was a little bit upset about that. But now, in hindsight, you know, he said that, you know, there's really only one thing about Germany that he didn't care for, and that none of it. He said that, you know, over there they don't really drink stuff cold, and so I always say that if your main complaint about the Vietnam War was that the beer was warm, then you didn't have it too bad, I guess. But, so, to make a long story short, when he was over there, he decided that my granny was who he wanted to be with for the rest of his life. The only problem is when he took off, well, she started dating another guy and they got engaged. So, that just wasn't gonna fly. He had to do something about that. So when he got back home, there was this big dance that was going on out in the county, and he figured that he could run into her there for sure. And he was right. He didn't have a car or anything, so he had to hitch a ride with one of his friends. They went out to this dance, and he runs into her, and goes up to her and asks her if they can take a drive and, you know, catch up. So that's what they did. They took a drive, and that's where he dropped down and asked her to marry him instead, and they're still together to this day. It's named after my grandmother, and the song's called Charlene.